Today I want to have a conversation with you about disruptive behaviors. Now, we all have certain specific behaviors that we indulge in, and we know that they are not consistent with who we are committed to being in the world, okay? They're just not consistent with the goals that we have for ourselves. As a matter of fact, they're so inconsistent that they're disruptive. They actually disrupt our daily lives. What is an example of a disruptive behavior? Smoking. Okay? Smoking is disruptive. It disrupts your health. Okay? Another example is overeating. Overeating is a disruptive behavior. Another example is shopping. You shopaholics. You know those credit cards are maxed out and you are going to open up another credit card. You know you've got no business doing that. That is a disruptive behavior, shopping, okay? So these are disruptive behaviors. Now, what happens is we distinguish our disruptive behaviors. We realize we have these behaviors, and we know that we should not be indulging in these behaviors, but we still do. We still do. People will say, don't you know smoking is bad for your health? And as you inhale in deeply and exhale, you say, yeah, and, right? You know that, but knowing that these disruptive behaviors are contradicting to who you're committed to being in life, knowing that doesn't make the difference. Because if knowing made the difference, then of course you would not be doing it, right? I mean, you're not insane. It's not like you want to sign up to be 100 pounds overweight because you indulge in disruptive behavior called overeating. But we have these disruptive behaviors that are a part of our lives, and they start to dominate our lives, and they bring all sorts of feelings of alienation, because we actually have to start sneaking away sometimes. If you care about looking good, you have to sneak around to do these disruptive behaviors, to participate in these behaviors. Okay, so what happens is at some point you say, okay, I'm not going to indulge in these behaviors anymore, and so what do? You start treating the disruptive behavior. So you'll go to Overeaters Anonymous, or you'll go to AA if alcohol is your disruptive behavior that you indulge in, or you'll go and you'll stop smoking, or whatever it is. You'll start treating the behavior, but yet you'll find that you might even be able to go into recovery or remission, and then you're in recovery for a year, and then you go back to the same behavior. That's what I want to talk to you about. I want to talk to you about why it is that you go back, and how it is that you can stop once and for all. And how it is that you can stop once and for all is to realize that your disruptive behavior is not the problem. Your disruptive behavior is a symptom of a problem. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Your disruptive behavior, you're smoking, you're overeating, you're being a shopaholic, you're being an alcoholic, all that is not the problem. That is a symptom of a problem. What is the problem? I'm going to tell you that in a second, but I want you to really understand that your disruptive behavior is really a bridge that is taking you away from the problem. So when a problem shows up that you can't deal with, you get on your bridge, you indulge in your disruptive behavior, which we're also calling your bridge, and you get on that bridge to try and move away from the problem that's right here. Okay, so remember, your disruptive behavior is not the problem, it's a bridge that you jump on to run away from the problem. I'll give you an example. A disruptive behavior that I've been dealing with ongoingly, and I've really now transformed it, is smoking. I started smoking when I was in junior high school. I smoked throughout high school. I smoked in college. I smoked all the time. And I really thought that smoking was the problem, so I would treat the problem. I'd get the nicotine patch, and I'd buy the books, and I'd listen to the tapes while I was sleeping, all that stuff. It never ever took care of the problem. Okay, so I realized that the problem is not my bridge, which was the smoking, the disruptive behavior, but it was this area right here, and this is the area that we call the unwanted destination. When you find yourself in an unwanted destination, what you do is you jump on that bridge to get away from it. What is an unwanted destination? An unwanted destination is an emotional state. It is usually revealed as an emotional state. So my unwanted destination is inadequacy. So whenever I feel inadequate, I jump on my bridge, which is smoking, and that's my disruptive behavior, to get me away from that inadequacy. I will do anything in the world not to feel inadequate. And of course I know that smoking is not good for me, and people would say don't smoke, but I'd say to myself, listen, you have no idea where this cigarette is getting me out of. So for those of you who are overeaters, for example, Oprah, she's an overeater, and I believe that her unwanted destination is shame. Whenever she experiences shame, she gets on her bridge, her disruptive behavior, which is overeating, to get her away from the shame. Some people, it's not feeling accepted. When they don't feel accepted, that's their unwanted destination. So what do? They start drinking, or they go shopping, or whatever behavior it is that they indulge in that's disruptive. Because really what it's doing, it's disrupting not only your current life, but it's disrupting that unwanted destination, and it's getting you out of there. Okay, so you got to be clear about that. There's your bridge that you're on. There's the unwanted destination. Your unwanted destination is an emotional experience that you find yourself experiencing, and then you get on that bridge to get out, okay? Now, how do you get rid of that disruptive behavior once and for all? Is you stop treating the bridge, the disruptive behavior, and you focus on the unwanted destination, that emotion. So in my case, it's inadequacy. So when I really got clear that that's what I needed, that's what I was running from, that's why I was smoking, I started working on the unwanted destination, and I started looking in my life. Okay, I said, where are all the areas in my life that I feel inadequate? And sure enough, when I went back down memory lane in my life, right before I picked up a cigarette again, even if I'd stopped for 4 years, the moment I picked up that cigarette again, I could tell you the exact feeling of inadequacy that I was experiencing and why. Okay, so remember, you want to really treat that unwanted destination, whatever it is. So if shame is your unwanted destination, make a list of all the areas that you're experiencing shame, and bring pride. If not being accepted is your unwanted destination, find all the areas where you feel that you're not being accepted and bring acceptance. Find a way to bring acceptance or get rid of it. Okay, you want to treat your unwanted destination, whatever it is, you want to find the positive charge of that and focus on that. And then your bridge will dissolve and crumble forever, because if there's no unwanted destination, there's no need for a bridge. Thank you for tuning in. This is Byer, author of X-Free 9 Keys to Freedom After Heartbreak, which is now available at Amazon.com. Be sure to check out my website at troybyer.com.